I would consider myself a political commentator, and I would consider myself somebody who comments on men's rights issues because nobody else seems to care. Nobody else seems to care that men commit more suicide, men are more homeless, men are the ones who are struggling in society today. We have no mental health support. Even if you look at something as simple as cancer, breast cancer gets all the funding, prostate cancer, nobody cares. Men are here to die, pay taxes, nobody cares about us, nobody cares about our feelings. And then they sit and say, oh yeah, men are depressed. So I don't know who the Manosphere are, but I am a man, and I will tell my story of how I live the best possible experience of being a man, and I'll help as many men as possible, and I'll highlight the difficulties that men go through. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Men today face a existential crisis, often bottled up in hobbies and social circles. Dating has become a minefield for men, as they feel misunderstood by the people they are trying to connect with.
This is the thing I hear from all women nowadays. Where are all the masculine men? I'll tell you, the second you meet them, you run and hide.
Because they don't want to sacrifice a part within themselves, so that would
men
require them to show up.
Men are not willing to give up their commitment for somebody that is still committed to other things. And women need to really understand that it's not easy to be with a real man. Most women say they want a high-value alpha male. They don't. They've been trained to want men that lie to their face. And that needs to be challenged.
This guy's 24 years old and has been on Tinder 128 days. He swiped 59,760 times, which is the equivalent of swiping 467 times a day. So he's definitely paying for gold. He only swiped right 183 times, which means he swiped right on 99.97% of people. So I really don't want to know what those 0.03% look like. Out of those 59,577 right swipes, he got 342 matches, which for a guy on Tinder isn't even that bad. So for every girl that swiped right on him, 173 swiped left. Those 342 matches led to 162 chats, but he got 0 dates. What I'm trying to say is Tinder is a fucking scam. Save your money, boys.
Men are juggling career pressures, personal goals, and internal struggles, and are expected to be confident, sensitive, driven, and emotionally available. Men process their problems differently, often dealing with stress and insecurities they are not ready to admit out loud. Men are often left to go it alone, and when they do open up, they are expected to be vulnerable but rock solid, which is impossible to balance.
Is dating today, in your opinion, harder than it's ever been?
I was friends with my boyfriend before we started dating, and I feel like that's a more natural transition than like seeing features on your screen and trying to make a decision based on like a list of things.
People just try and avoid things because I think they're scared to say things straight up.
One red flag and you're kind of like, oh, I could go find somewhere else. You don't need to have one person when you could have like 5.
Honestly, I don't know. I've had really bad luck. So everything. Like, I've been treated like shit.
I think a big part of it is because of social media.
People see a lot, they exposed to a lot. They're always looking for better, 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 better.
Everyone is always looking for the best thing, and they always think something else is around the corner, and you almost have too much access to too many people.
To be honest, I'd rather just be a little lonelier than deal with all the hassle of dating. I'm really not in a place emotionally and financially where I can deal with sorting through a bunch of misses to find a missus. Nowadays, with dating apps, there's always something new and more exciting just around the corner. So many women I've dated have abruptly broken things off because they found something more exciting. Dating is like taking on a part-time job. I don't have the time or the energy. I'm sure all of you can relate to that. Social media, Hollywood, and porn have really altered the expectations of the general public across the board when looking for a mate. It's actually really messed up psychologically when a person thinks about it. Specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who conveniently hold themselves to extremely low standards but feel entitled to the best. More specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who act like victims when they're confronted with equally high expectations.
The dating culture is bombarded with mixed messages, making dating feel like an uphill battle. Men are tired of feeling like checkboxes to be filled, and many are stepping away from the dating scene. The conversation around men's mental health is lacking, and acknowledging their struggles is seen as weakness. This stigma is amplified when it comes to dating.
The one thing that makes men extraordinarily irresistible to women being masculine, it's when they have created a relationship with their humanity where they do not reject it. And how do they do that? To be a masculine man means to be connected with your very humanity and integrated towards the masculine ideal, which is to have the ability to protect, to have the ability to provide as you are.
So to essentially surrender.
There's a lot of surrender in that process, and it's because you're taking your humanity, your faults, your insecurities, and then you're integrating it towards the ideal of protecting and providing at the highest level possible, making you a kind individual. That is what women find irresistible.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? You're 30 years old. Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a registered voter.
I vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's what we're doing here today. It's an open mic.
I think that you push a dangerous agenda.
Let me just ask you one thing though, because personal insults can fly in all directions. But I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement, and I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would too.
I don't think you're focusing on substance though. That's the issue.
Hold on. Look, he intentionally tried to provoke substance out of you.
You're purposely antagonizing people on campus, asking people to come up by spreading your weird agenda.
How?
Many women desire men to be open and emotionally vulnerable, but when they do, they're often met with impatience or treated as too sensitive or needy. This belief that men must constantly perform to societal standards makes them feel disposable and not worthy of respect or support. This creates a vicious cycle, making men less willing to open up and engage fully in relationships. In the long run, this leaves men feeling emotionally abandoned.
The only women that are struggling to find a partner are ones that are actually wife material. You speak to a woman who has no intention of settling down, who is very good at, performing sexual acts and stuff. She has no problem meeting men. She's constantly surrounded by men. So it's just the message that men are giving online is that they want good women and stuff, but it's not in line with their behavior. And I just wish there was more honesty about what you truly want out of a woman. She's going to beg and say, please forgive me, but the reality is we don't want the man that forgives us. We really don't. We want the man that says, you had your chance, it's been a pleasure, I wish you the best, because that's the man we respect.
If society truly cared about men's mental health, the conversation would be about acceptance, support, and genuine respect. For those in the 25 to 35 range, life becomes more confusing, and they may feel lost without knowing how to ask for directions.
You think I need you. It's like, I don't think so. I think you need me. And if you don't want me around anymore, we'll see who needs who.
Many people are stressed, on edge, and battling issues in silence to avoid sounding weak or whiny. Real estate sales pressure, tax bills, and app development jobs can all impact a person's confidence and sense of purpose. The hamster wheel of life can lead to a lack of adventure and meaning, leaving men feeling emotionally abandoned. And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.